Hello, my name is Sumaya. I'll be talking about understanding child abuse and neglect. Do you guys know what is child abuse? Child abuse is an act of hurting a child's feeling or body. Why do I choose this topic? Well, because child abuse cases keep on escalating in our country. Especially during these times where everybody is always at home due to the pandemic COVID-19. How can this happen? And why does it keep happening? The main reason is because it is underreported. That's why public awareness and prevention acts are so important. Childhood abuse can develop into lifelong issues, from insecurity to intimacy issues. It can cause someone to suffer PTSD, known as post-traumatic stress disorder, depending on the severity. This is an example of a traumatic event during childhood of Todoroki Shoto. This scene is a flashback on how he got the burn mark on the left side of his face. It was his mom who did it to him. There are 4 types of child abuse that I want to highlight here. The first one is neglect, when parents fail to accommodate adequate attention and necessities for their children, such as physical neglect, emotional neglect, educational neglect, medical neglect, supervisory neglect, and exposure to harmful environments. A study by Turner and others shows that physical neglect is strongly associated with economic deprivation. Meanwhile, lack of parental education can induce significant impacts on both physical and supervisory neglect. A research by Smith and colleagues also shows that parents may turn out to be bodily or psychologically unfit to care for a child when they suffer from conditions like severe illness, untreated anxiety, or distress. The second one is physical abuse, any harmful activity that causes a child to feel pain, such as hitting, kicking, slapping, choking, and so on. The child may develop scars, bruises, broken bones, internal bleeding, or even death, depending on the severity. Some abusive parents demand that their actions are just to portray the way they discipline their child to stay behaved. The parents also believe that they can lash out their frustration and use fear to control their child's behavior. Research by Montgomery and others state that parents with PTSD have a higher risk of submitting violence than parents without PTSD. That's why victims of abuse also tend to repeat the same mistake when they grow older. This is a scene about a mother who can't stop lashing out her anger and frustration towards her daughter, Kayo Hinazuki, after she got divorced. She used the eyes to hide the bruises from showing on the child's skin so that people won't notice it when the child goes to school. The third one is emotional abuse, a pattern of messing with the child's emotional development and mental health, such as shaming, verbally abusing, giving a silent treatment, playing the victim card, invalidating emotions, limiting love affections, comparing siblings, taking away a child's independence. Abusive parents use emotional abuse tactics to gain control, make victims feel awful, turn circumstances around them, Eventually, their children will lose trust in their parents, and they may develop mental behavioral disorder. This also shows about how strict and harsh a mother treats her child, a pianist prodigy son, Arima Kousei, in order for him to find his own style in playing the piano. Another character with a sad childhood is Naruto Uzumaki. As a child, Naruto was neglected. He was shunned by the villagers. He was only acknowledged as a monster and a demon boy who shouldn't be alive, let alone to become a shinobi. He grew up alone without any parents, without love of another person. Lastly is sexual abuse, an unwanted sexual activity with abusers using force, making threats or taking advantage of victims not able to give consent. Sexual assault can happen to anyone at any time and anywhere. It can also happen when you are unconscious, when you are sick, drunk, asleep, or get spiked. Sexual abuse, either explicit or implicit, can cause long-lasting effects on the child. The child may suffer from PTSD and shut themselves off completely, afraid of getting into a relationship. This can cause them to reject and fear intimacy. Do you know that most sexual abuse is committed by someone that the child already knows? It can be the child's family members, teachers, or even neighbors. As children, we were always told not to talk to strangers. Stranger danger is a common phrase. While family, in another hand, is considered as safe and loved. But what about when it isn't? When your family is toxic, how can you live with that? According to Harness research, a responsible parent will likely to turn a blind eye when the other parent or step-parent abuses their child. As a result, it's not just loneliness and hopelessness that they will experience while growing up, but they may always feel unsafe again. This is from a Korean movie. The title of the movie is Hope. This film is based on a true story. An 8-year-old girl was raped and beaten by a drunk 57-year-old man. Fortunately, she survived. In this movie, the child suffered from PTSD, and she sometimes mistakes her own father for her attacker. Her father was so heartbroken when this happened. Why do some children don't want to disclose their abuse to anyone? Because they are afraid of getting trouble, afraid of the abuser, afraid of losing friends, feeling embarrassed, threatened, and guilty. But remember, it's not your fault, and you are not alone. Even there are thousands of reasons why you think you can't talk about abuse. Here's 3 reasons why you should. You deserve to be happy, you deserve to be safe, you can protect other people by telling. It can take time for you to be ready to talk about it. It's alright. When you are ready to tell someone, just remember that there are people who want to help you. Even you can't get help right away, keep telling until someone takes action. If telling parents is not an option, there are other adults who are good to talk to, who care about you. After seeking help and telling someone, you need to try to heal yourself to become the survivor of child abuse. Here are the 10 ways to heal and cope with PTSD. You shouldn't suppress your emotions and memories. You have to accept the pain, hardship, and trauma in order to move forward. You as a listener should mind the way you respond when someone with PTSD tries to open up to you. Some people might say, but whatever happens, they are still your family. Saying this to someone with a broken family doesn't feel right to me. Abuse is abuse, no matter what. Overall, dealing with abuse is hard. It isn't easy to say no, run away, and tell someone. But you must stop the secrets that hurt to protect yourself. If you or someone you know is being abused, please call the emergency hotline immediately. Bye. Thank you for watching.